I don't think people truly realize that your space is sacred and you will defend it, and it's just very instinctual, right? And so with that comes a huge and a massive amount of emotion, right?
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Behind the Small Business Podcast. Once again, my name is Kevin Dandino, and I am more than happy to be with you here today as we talk to yet another fantastic small business owner. A couple quick things first, guys. This is brought to you by Centennial State Insurance Agency. So if you're looking for any kind of insurance quote for your personal needs or your business, reach out to us today at 303-838-0554. You can also find us on the web. We'd be more than happy to sit down to you, talk with you, and find out what your insurance needs are and set you up for success. Also, this is an open invitation for all small business owners out there. If you want to come up here on stage, talk about your business, share your story, get a little free publicity, we'd be more than happy to share your story. So let us know, reach out to us, and we will figure out a time to get you up on stage. But today we have Brian Prescott of Colorado Real Estate Coalition. Brian, again, thank you for hopping on here with me today and willing to talk to me.
Oh man, thanks for having me. Also, great radio voice. I think you've
Thank
found
you.
your niche. This is fantastic. I love
Well,
it.
they always said I have a face for radio, so it's been a couple years in the making, as I've been doing this podcasting thing. But I appreciate the compliment, man. It's always good to get off on the right foot with the podcast host before it starts, So
Well, I
good
got to
little
butter you up.
trick there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we can laugh.
No, I definitely appreciate it, man. Well, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. You own Colorado Real Estate Coalition. You've been doing this for a while now. Looks like about 4 years. So let's enough of me talking. I want to hear about you, kind of your background, what got you into this, and the foundation of Colorado Real Estate Coalition.
So I've always been a small business owner since 19 years old. I'm 35
Wow,
now, so that puts it at what, 16 years.
time
Uh,
flies.
there was maybe 2 years where I might have worked for someone else for a little bit, but ultimately working for myself has just been the best. I got my start off with owning and operating a automotive detailing business, right? So
Okay.
the biggest premise of owning any business is customer experience, right?
Yep.
And pretty much some really hospitality, right? Like that's really what people love, regardless of whatever industry you're in. As long as you're making people feel excellent, that's the key. And if anybody listen to this who's a small business owner, hospitality will win every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so at a young age, I, learned how to run a business, do books and things like that. And I eventually sold that business 10 years later on Friday the 13th, 2020 in New
Oh
York,
no!
while the world was like closing down, literally.
Literally that day. Yep.
Yeah, seriously. I was at the epicenter, and I was signing paperwork to sell that business. And that's what kind of catapulted me into wanting to start something else. And I've always had an interest in investing in real estate. And so, I invest in real estate as well. And so it was just an easy transition for me. I moved from Idaho to Colorado and started up the Colorado Real Estate Coalition, which is an homage to my college buddies that we used to do an auto body school together, and we detailed cars, and it was called the Detailers Coalition, right? So I named it this, and also because I just really work with great people, right? Great vendors. I have an amazing list of people that I collate with to be able to take someone from, hey, I don't know how to buy a house, to here's my keys, I just bought my first house, or I sold my fifth house and now I'm moving to my dream home in Montana, whatever that may be.
It's quite the journey, especially, somebody who has had this experience before. And one, luck that you sold the business when you did, because who knows what that would have looked like on March 14th, right? The way the world turns so quickly there. But to have that experience and to understand what it means to be your own boss, and to be responsible for that whole organization that you had built, right? Um, and I guess, what drove you? Because you started this at such a young age there at 19, where most people are just like, I don't know what I want to do today, much less, what I want to do with, my career, or, opening up a business, running my own business. Like, what drove you to want to do that at such a young age?
Uh, Probably an attitude towards authority, right? Like,
Okay.
that's one of the biggest things. I just have a hard time answering to someone else in the fact of, this is my wonderful, beautiful life that God gave me, right? And
Yeah.
so I
Yep.
get to run my life the way I want to. And that is something from a young age. I knew it was very important to me to be the captain of my own ship, right? And one of the reasons was because I got fired from a job, not necessarily because I was a bad employee or anything, but some other things happened, and I was like,
Sure.
wow, what do I want to do to where no one could ever fire me or no one could ever let me go, right? And so from college, we I took an auto body course and we learned how to detail cars, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll do that. And I was able to make money day one
Hmm.
and really grow quite a following, to where after I sold this business, a couple chemical manufacturers offered me regional sales positions for their companies, for some startup companies.
Oh, wow.
And I worked for a couple different companies over a course of 2 years, and I decided, I was like, you know what? I like working for myself. That's really, I just like having my own sovereignty. That's
For
it.
sure.
Of course, I answer to clients and help them out to the best of my ability. But if
Right.
it's the first day of spring and we didn't have this, I'd probably be out fishing or something like that,
Right.
right? Because I can, right? Um, but also being self-employed poses its problems, because if you are the captain of your ship and you run a loose ship, it gets out of hand quickly, right? And
Yeah.
as you can probably, attest to as well, being a small business owner, is if you don't keep to a schedule, things can unravel pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, when you recognize that this is all on your shoulders, right? And to some people, that amount of responsibility is the reason why they shy away from being a business owner themselves, or is at least what maybe makes people really pause. And I think it should be in some regards. You shouldn't rush into it head first, right? But if you're sitting back wondering like, man, this is gonna be a lot, like, not just the amount of work that goes in behind the scenes to running your business, but like however it turns out is me, right? It's on me.
Totally.
And for some people, that's like, well, is that something I really want to get into? But every small business owner I've talked to, including you, it sounds like it's worth it, like as long as you recognize that and you go into that knowing the premise of what you're about to get into, it it it, it pays off, right?
Oh,
um
totally.
and it's fun to see that the story and the journey that every business owner goes, because no story is the same, right? People get into it for different reasons. They have their own business that's based off of what really drives them, what they're passionate about. And everyone but they find a way to make it work through the ups and the downs, right? Which, being in real estate, I'm sure you understand, the just based off the world, based off the market, based off interest rates, like there are a ton of ups and downs that
Sure.
you go through.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask you, like, from your perspective, like, how do you handle those? How do you deal with the down times, the up times, and just what drives you to kind of get through those different periods?
The consistency, right? Like, the consistency of my day. And, if it's a slow time, I'm still doing the things that I know that I have to do every day, right? Every day, it doesn't matter. Like, even if, let's say I didn't make any money for a year, right? it doesn't matter because I will still be here
Yep.
and just outwork myself, and I'm not worried about what's going on with, interest rates or this or that, because there are people, out there making 100, $200,000 a month selling real estate, right? So it's not, it's just a mindset. That's clearly all it is, whether it's a illusion of grandeur for myself, but it it I just can't stop, right? Like, I know that if I don't stop, I will win. Like,
Yeah.
that's the end of story, and it's always been that way through my entire life. Whether it's this business or that business, I know if I stick with something, I will win, right? And I think that's a huge problem in a lot of our society, and with some small business owners, is that they branch out to over here, or they try to do this over there instead of focusing on one thing and making it just the chef's kiss.
Mhm.
That's how you get distracted and lose, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we all know the stats of small business success rates, in the first 1 to 5 to even 10 years. And again, that's probably a big reason why some people shy away from it is they see the mortality rate of those small businesses, and they don't want to be part of that statistic, right? So there's maybe some lack of faith or trust in themselves. But from what you're saying, and I completely agree with it. When you have that drive, that mentality, and you really hone in on that one thing that you're passionate about. You say, if I can make this the best that I possibly can, and I'm willing to go in all in on this and dedicate everything to it, your chances for success just skyrocketed, right?
Yeah,
Because out of those statistics, how many people kind of got into it already, kind of like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work or not, or get into it and try like 20 different things all at the same time, and that's what caused it to fall apart because nothing is really clicking. So there's a lot of factors that go into those statistics, but your viewpoint right there, and your experience really kind of showcases you find that one thing that you want to hone in on. That opens up the world to you then at that point once you get that going.
totally. And it's not like I'm out here working 80-hour weeks or something like that. I don't want people to think that I'm just like, yeah, we're going. It's like you said, this one thing, and if I can just focus on the just tunnel vision, blinders on, and just go forward, it the amount of work is purposeful, and it has a purpose, and it's driving me into the direction that I need to go. It's at the end of the day, if I have to crank out 50 calls, or if it's just 5 calls, right? Like, it's
Right.
it's it's really, uh it's the consistency, and we all are on the internet. You see consistency, you think it's like this, but consistency's, the cyclical thing, just
Mhm.
like, the real estate market or the insurance market or the stock market, right? It is this up and down, but if you just keep with it and don't stop, like, I can't lose. If I quit and give up, like, I anybody would lose.
Right. Exactly. It's I think some people maybe not wouldn't put a real estate agency or coalition in your case in the realm of a small business, but I don't see why not, because you all have the same hallmarks as any other small business. You have to really hone in on what you're passionate about. You have to be passionate about what you're doing. You can't just be like, well, I don't like interacting with people, so I'm gonna go sell real estate. Like that doesn't really make sense, right? Or like, well, I don't really like all the dealing with the different lenders and this and that. So I'm going to go into real estate, right? Like there has to be real passion behind that stuff. Another big part of it is marketing. I think marketing for real estate agents is key to their success. And I think that can be said for probably 95% of small businesses, right? There's probably some out there that you don't need it so much, but for you especially, so we'll kind of pick your brain a little bit about marketing. And in today's world of AI, and just there's so many different um, platforms to market on, between It used to just be
overwhelming.
TV and radio. Now it's
Right.
TV, radio, yeah, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, just having a website and being able to keep up with all those different modes of marketing out there. So, how do you kind of parse through all of that? And what have you found kind of works best for you, or what's your approach to that?
Well, I'm, 35 years old. I'm a millennial, so I have like my foot half in of technology and half out. And so for me, I mean, I utilize Facebook massively. Like
Mhm.
that's the platform that I use. That's the platform that I love. Sure, there's all those other ones, but when it comes down to it, super overwhelming for me, right? Oh, I gotta post here. I gotta do this. Okay, I gotta go post over here and do that and do this. And though, if I take the Gary Vee approach, I probably should. However, for like my mental capacity, it's like Facebook and YouTube, right? And so with Facebook, I get around 200 to sometimes 400,000 views a month
Mhm.
on through my Facebook. And a lot of it is for me just like connecting with people. I
Yeah.
I run events, so I invite people from Facebook to come in person,
Right.
right? And, to where, doing a community food drive, or I'm a huge fisherman, so I do a lot of fishing events, and I always invite people out fishing, and I give away rods and things like that. So for me, yeah, social media is massive, right? Because it's massive and it's important, and it's also unfortunate to me that so many people are on their phones, right? And I know that, so I know that I need to be on their phone, right? Like
Right.
I need to be there. I need to be producing content, whether it's, me cooking a steak or doing something with my daughter or walking around a beautiful house. Um, so yeah, cutting through that, sure, I get to get a lot of views online, but I really try to take it off and get in person, right? One of the biggest things that I think us as humans is we long for community, but
Yeah.
we are unwilling to make that step forward because of, social media on our phones, maybe because of COVID. This has just been
Yeah.
a long-standing topic that I've had many chats with, my wife's, my wife and other friends, because trying to get people to come out and play, essentially, right? Come out and hang out, have a coffee, whatever, is is exceedingly difficult.
Yeah.
It truly is, and I understand people have busy lives and yada, 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 but there comes to a point where it's not a good enough excuse for me anymore,
Right.
and so whether I join the Chamber of Commerce to go meet people, or, I join a fraternity, like I'm a Freemason, right? Go and meet people and be around people, because we need this community that we're slowly it's drifting away. It really is. And it's bothering me that we don't get together enough anymore as
Yep.
people, right? Or have courageous conversations about something without someone getting mad about what you're talking about, and now we can't be friends, or things like that. So, like, my mission is to get to, like, know people, right? Not through the internet, because we all see stuff, we're all scrolling by, blah, 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 blah. I just I wanna make friends and meet you in person, and if you're cool, we can hang out and go fish or go have a cigar or whatever. Uh, that's that's where I try to utilize social media to bring it to that level, because I wanna have a purposeful and meaning and interpersonal relationship with people. Like,
Right.
it's what we need as humans. And this year, uh, I've just had a longing for that, to where I'm like, I really need to work hard to get people out of their house to get a coffee, right? I have, over 2,500 Facebook friends, and I probably know 1% of them,
Right.
and trying to get people out to go have a coffee or whatever is exceedingly difficult, which is strange to me. And I'm easy self-employed, like, you wanna meet at 9 o'clock at night? Let's do it. Like,
Let's
it
do
it
it.
doesn't bother me. But
Yeah.
yeah, sorry to ramble
Oh,
and rant onto something
no,
totally different, but
no, I think that that's exactly kind of what I wanted this conversation to go through is to see, I think a lot of social or small business owners maybe are using that social media presence without having that end point in sight, right? They're all about, hey, I'm gonna create this really awesome, cool graphic with my business's phone number on it or something, and they throw it out there, and then okay, it's cool to look at it, and maybe it gets some traction, but what's the end point, right? And I think if more people used it as a, hey, my end point isn't just get my information out there, but it's to lead me to get to know them in person, right? Draw them into your business's office or draw them into some sort of, maybe you're having a communal event where, hey, I'm going to put on this workshop, right? And from there, we can talk on, maybe there's just 10 people there, right? It doesn't have to be 200 people, just 10 people where I
right,
can, I can get to know you and you can see me in person. And like you're saying, draw you out of your house, draw you away from the other stuff you're doing and use the social media point more as a intermediary to get there versus this is my end. I'm going to put the information out there and now I'm done. Now I'm going to sit back and wait for people to come to me based off of my phone number being on that graphic, right?
totally.
And dude, the COVID thing, I think is if I were doing this podcast 10 years ago, I think it'd be so different. The struggles small business owners are facing would be so different in many various ways. There'd be a lot of similarities, right? In terms of the risk and everything like that. But we've really that couple year period, man, it just changed how people function. And it's like they don't instinctively think about, oh, I want to go, I'm gonna go see you in person. It's a, well, I'm gonna talk to you online because that's how everything is kind of kind of reverted to, right? And
Right.
so this idea of really the idea and the wanting to connect to people on a more one-on-one in-person basis is huge. And I think that's if more people started doing that, I think maybe society would start to kind of get more in a normalized and healing state. But I think for a small business, that is massive, especially for somebody in real estate. I could see the positives of that immediately.
Right. I mean, business or not, right? Like, we need to have our community, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's what it is. And sure, I am in the type of business where this is literally like the biggest thing that you're going to do in your life. You're going to want to know this person, right? You're going to want to put trust into someone. And that's like why the referral's huge. Getting referred is incredible. Like, I thankful everybody who sends me a referral. Seriously, it's massive. And it's it's a I say this often, like, real estate's so primal.
mm,
It
yeah,
really is. Your space is primal. There's been wars over it. There's been genocide over
true.
space and everything. Like, I don't think people truly realize that your space is sacred and you will defend it. And it's just very instinctual, right? And so with that comes a huge and a massive amount of emotion, right?
Yeah,
And me as your guide, as your, Yoda or Gandalf or whatever, I am guiding you through these emotions because I've experienced this enough to where this is just every day for me. This is work. This is what I get to do. And so it's easy for you to lay that upon me and have someone that's going to uh be the person on your shoulder and being like, "Okay, no, this is okay. You're gonna go through this. Let me negotiate this for you." Like, that's the way I operate my business is calm, guiding, and for someone to connect with me like that, we need to know each other, right?
yeah,
Like, that's the whole premise of this business is connecting with people on one of the biggest purchases of their lives, right? or the biggest investment that they're going to do. And it's it's very important, and it's very oh man, it's so primal. That's the only that's the
Right.
best way I can describe it, is just like, this is my space. This is
Yeah.
mine. We always lock our cars, we lock our doors, it is just, our stuff is so important to us,
Right.
which is crazy. It's very Americanized, right? It's like our stuff. We're the land of excess where we have storage units. And so yeah, try getting to
Yeah.
know someone and guide them through that. That's very important to me.
Right. Well, everybody knows the saying, a man's home is his fortress, right? And you're exactly right. It is that primal. It goes back throughout history, right? Claiming plots of land for your own. And so I don't think that's any less today true than it was back then. And I do
Oh,
appreciate the Yoda reference as well. The nerd in me got a little you heard it, a little happy right there. I think that was the first official reference ever on this podcast.
all right.
So yeah, another barrier we broke there today. I love it though. But the people just got to be, it's such a huge part in in your profession, especially. But whether you're a restaurant owner or you're selling candles or just what, like there has to be that connection to people to build that trust to say, yeah, I trust you to here, take my money, right? And then when you're talking about real estate, it is such a massive thing to go through. I bought this house. It's my first house that we bought together. And um I definitely went into it just like I don't know what I don't know where to start,
Right.
right? And so I guess the question for you, like how do you approach that? There's such a difference, I'm sure, between somebody who's been through the process 5 or 6 times, like you said at the beginning of the episode, for somebody who's brand new, right? And maybe what are some of the challenges that you're facing in today's real estate market that you feel is one worth mentioning to people who are maybe out there thinking about buying a home for the first time and saying, what, this Brian guy might be a good guy to reach out to, right? But what are some of the things that people are encountering and having to overcome as they go through that journey of buying a house?
The biggest issue that I have found is that people are unwilling to make a purposeful plan to be able to
Mm,
execute a home buy, right? It's always like, "Oh, I'm gonna wait till next year," or, "Oh, I gotta wait till this crazy thing in my life calms down."
sure.
And no matter what, life is crazy, and next year without planning is you're 1 year behind now. And so that's my approach is, eh, let's figure out if you can, let's figure out how you can. And that to me is like, without a plan, like the 5 Ps, proper planning prevents poor performance, right? It
I like it.
To me, that is so important. When someone brushes me off like, "Oh, this or that or whatever," like, I know you wanna buy a home. Let's figure out if you can. If you can't right now, that doesn't bother me whatsoever. I'm not a salesman. I'm a fiduciary. I'm a consultant. I'm your Yoda, right? Like, I
Right.
want you to
Yeah.
be the hero of your story, and I'm just the guide, right? I'm the one that takes you to Mordor, right? Like, that's just what it is. And so that's the biggest thing, is people are unwilling to make a purposeful plan to buy a home, right? There's a whole lot of mystery and things behind it, but if you have a plan and you could just checkpoint by checkpoint go through, and you'll get there, right? Or you might realize that it's not going to work out for you, which is perfectly fine. Instead of living in a fantasy world, like I'm very blunt. Like, I want to get to the point, right? Can you do it? Do you want to do it? Here's the plan how you do it. Are you going to make the sacrifices to be able to do it? That's that's the part of the plan, right? So when we sit down, we kind of play 20 questions, right? And
Yeah.
we make a timeline, and okay, if your credit needs fixed, I can send you to someone that helps with that. And they can give you some tips and tricks to over time, because it's a timeline. Like,
It
not
sure
many
is.
people are coming to me and being like, all right, I'm ready to buy tomorrow, right?
Right.
Usually it's 6 months, 9 months out.
Yeah.
And real estate's it's a time thing, but if you take the time out of it, it becomes very enjoyable, right? If it's not like, oh, I have to hit this many closings this month or this year or whatever. If you take the time out of it, you can really serve your people very well. And this is one of the things that, like, I'm a master of one thing, and that's taking care of people very well and creating that timeline. That's that's the biggest issue. When it comes down to it, you need to make a plan. Cut
Yeah.
and dry, because you can't just go through this process without a plan. And if you're going through this process with someone without a plan, the likelihood of it failing is very high, and the likelihood of you losing a lot of money is also on the table for sure.
Yep. That's good words of advice there. And I think again, it can seem daunting and overwhelming for a first time homeowner. I mean, I've been there
It
just,
is.
like I said, 5, 6 years ago, right? And just, oh my gosh, like the amount of things. But when you have the trust in your real estate agent to, okay, not only do they know what they're talking about, but they do have my best interest in mind, and I can say that with certainty, that alleviates so much stress. So finding a good real estate agent that actually does truly care about you, and isn't just looking for the sale because they want to get the commission and get paid themselves that month, right? Two very different things. And I'm not saying there's a lot of those kind of people out there, but you want to spend time building that relationship and that trust through the conversations, through the planning process, to really see that this person is somebody I can go to and I can ask those dumb questions of, what is this acronym or what does this mean, right? Like, I don't want to sound stupid. Well, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Just freaking ask it because it's probably going to be in your best interest. And if you feel like you can't ask those questions to your real estate agent, you might want to find a different one that you feel you can approach with them, right? Um, but going back, everything loops into dealing with people and wanting to deal with people and interact with them and build those relationships and taking the time to do that, and then having your whole kind of model, your business model based on that. The end result is getting to know these people and helping them set them up for success is huge, and it's a lot of work, I'm sure.
Totally.
you know and but it seems like it's paying off, man. Seems like you're doing pretty well, and you got a good thing going there. Just talking to you for 30 minutes here, it seems like this is something that you're definitely made for. And I would encourage anyone out there looking to buy some property or their own home or something soon to reach out to Brian there. So Brian, I want to leave a few minutes here at the end for you to kind of, any last minute thoughts, or also just allow you another chance to let people know how they can contact you and find your information online so they can start on their own little journey, and then have the privilege of getting to meet you and talk to you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Facebook, Brian Prescott. I got the blue check, so I'm legit. You can find me on Instagram. I'm the Fly Fishing Realtor. So
Oh, there you go.
as you guys have heard, I love fishing. I do a ton of it. I do a lot of volunteer work with it too, taking veterans out fly fishing through a outfit called Project Healing Waters. And just I get to do a lot of cool things with fishing. So if you want to get fishing and talk some real estate, give me a shout. My phone number is 720-340-9675. You can call or text. And gosh, just last little tidbits, just get out there and enjoy some people time, right? Like, that's enjoy some time with your people. We have this short little life here on earth, and I think it's just a massive thing to be involved with your community.
Yep.
Truly.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, Brian, thank you again for sharing your thoughts and your experiences, and just seeing the success that you're having, not just in your previous business ventures, but this one as well. And just hearing about, again, what it's like to be a small business owner, and hearing your story. So thank you for sharing today, man.
Kevin, thank you so much for having me on. It was such a fun time.
Awesome. Glad it was fun for me too. I definitely appreciate it. And again, buttering me up at the beginning. I'm gonna remember that one. That was a good trick. So hey everyone, thank you again for tuning in for another episode today. Again, this is brought to you by Centennial State Insurance Agency. Reach out to us today for a free quote for any personal or business insurance needs. 303-838-0554. And again, open invitation to all small business owners. Come on up and share your own story like Brian did today, and let people, more people out there know about you. With that being said, we will see you next time, where we pull back the curtain and take a look behind another small business. Take care, everyone. We'll see you later.